Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from SoT Tranquility. Welcome to a very special episode of the show. We've got some very special guests today. In fact, for those of you who are going to be attending SoT Tranquility Fall Fest October 1st at the Chance in Poughkeepsie, New York, you will get to see live in person none other than prog rock legends Nectar. Welcome, gentlemen. Let me introduce everybody before we get started talking here. So we've got Mo himself is here, Derek Moore, bassist, vocalist. We've got Rich Schlanda on guitars and vocals. We've got the amazing Mick Brockett, who handles all of the incredible visuals. We got Ron Howden on drums and percussion, who's trying to get his camera working. And we also have Randy Dembo, who's also going to be jumping in as well. They're having a little bit of technical issues. Randy, I guess, is kind of like the multi-instrumentalist of the band, right? Plays some bass, some guitar, keyboards, all sorts of things. So welcome, gentlemen. We're very happy to have you on the show today. And I guess to kind of jumpstart it all, you guys are going to be headlining SoT Tranquility Fall Fest along with Vanilla Fudge, Pat Travers Band, Epic Tantrum, Sonus Umbra, Chris Caffrey from Sabotage and Trans-Siberian Orchestra, Andy Powell from Wishbone Ash, and all the SoT Tranquility folks. We're very happy to have you on board. So are you guys excited for the fest, first of all? I mean, I know it's
very excited,
a month away, but we're getting there.
Yeah, it's coming on us pretty fast.
It is.
Yeah,
it is. And it'll be cool to see like fans of like all the different bands coming together. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be some bleeding over people who are into Travis or into Vanilla Fudge, people who are into Nectar, I'm sure into Vanilla Fudge. So that'll be really kind of interesting to see all these different, music lovers coming on board. But I think for you guys, it's really cool because you're not just a nostalgia act. I mean, you guys have gotten back together in recent years. You released The Other Side in 2020. Basically picking up right where you left off. We sadly lost Roy a few years back, but you guys decided to carry on, and this is a fine record. So I guess how's the reception been to this album now that it's been out for a couple of years? And from the fans and the critics, I guess.
It's still selling quite well. We had some problems when it first came out. It was #1 on Amazon for the first 3 weeks, and then we had problems with that German band, which we fought off. Right. And when we brought it back out again, we brought it out with a DVD on the making of the album from the beginning, from our first rehearsal with me and Rich and Ron. And it seems to be going pretty good.
That's good.
So
it didn't get much play.
Huh?
It didn't get played a lot on
Hey, Randy.
What's up, Ron?
Various podcasts, websites, and radio stations. So I don't know how many people have actually heard it,
I think Nectar fans in general have heard it.
Yes.
And I think those who are into, classic 70s prog rock have listened. I mean, I've spoken to tons of people who have heard it. But again, it's when you have fans who have followed a band since way back then, a lot of folks, they love the classic albums, but they tend to kind of fall off with anything new. And they're like, oh yeah, Nectar, I love them. My favorite albums, Remember the Future and, Tab in the Ocean. I haven't heard the new album. I'll get to it one of these days. And sometimes they don't actually get to it unless someone like myself or whoever says, well, you must listen to this. If you love the classic era of the band, you will like this, give it a chance. And some people need to be kind of hooked in a little bit like that. Now, have you, when you guys have played live, have you featured any songs from this album in the set list?
Yeah, we always try to do about 4 songs off the album. And we've had good reception. They know it, so they've definitely heard it. It's not like, oh, what's this, I'm pleased that people know it and they're accepting it when we play it. Within our set, we play a set, usually at least 4 songs off the album.
Okay. Well, if you're doing what are you doing? Like 90-minute, 2-hour sets for the most part. So that leaves
2 hours, 2 and a quarter, an hour and a half. Depends, When we played on Cruise to the Edge, we only did 70 minutes, which was really tight.
Yeah.
We did 2 sets, different nights, and we only covered the music that we would normally cover in one set.
Right. And it's got to be tough on a Cruise to the Edge where you have a lot of classic era fans coming on. They want to hear what they want to hear, right? So it's got to be tough when you only have maybe 70 or 80 minutes and you know there's certain songs you absolutely have to play. And some of your songs tend to be on the longer side. So that's got to be tough putting together a set list. And I know you want to squeeze the new stuff in, but you want to make everybody happy, right?
Right.
Well, with the visual show, it's a whole different can of beans for some people. I don't think they were expecting it. They didn't have any screens. We had to use our own screens. So they weren't prepared for a light show. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So I think the prog audience that you got are ready for a light show.
Yeah, I would think so. And all right, so Mick, that's a perfect segue. I think what you do for the band is kind of a lost art nowadays, right? I mean, you go to see...
I wanted to make it an art form 50 years ago, long time ago. It was an art form and it still is. And it's transformed over the years into a lot of other things, but then it became a fire hazard too. So, you know, I mean, White Snake didn't help us on that one halfway through our lives, but yeah, a lot of people frown on this weird contraption that fires images onto the screen, you know, and I've had various forms of it over the 50 years, 55 years that I've been doing it. So yeah, it's changed.
Well,
And things aren't the same. This isn't the 70s anymore.
No, it's absolutely not. It's absolutely not.
No.
But I've experienced you guys live before, and I've seen the whole visual treat that it is. So I think it'll be, you know, obviously I'm remembering back from Nearfest days on really huge stage. You know, Chance is a little bit smaller, but still a fairly good sized stage. And I think you'll have plenty of room to work your magic. So
okay.
Yeah, I've looked it up on the internet. It looks like a nice place.
Looks great place.
Yeah,
there is a screen there, right?
Yes.
Yes, I thought
and
it was.
And it's been there a long time, so it's got some history to it. So I think it'll go great. So
okay.
So are you guys? So I was looking at like album release dates, and I see that it's the 50-year anniversary of Tab in the Ocean.
Uh-huh.
Now, are you guys doing anything special for that this year?
Well, we've been playing most of the albums, some of each album. The big one next year is Remember the Future.
Yeah.
And we're currently playing pretty much all of that album, which we've not done before. We're doing side 1 and side 2. We just started doing that fairly recently. Hold on, Ron's calling.
He's having a hard time.
Yeah, we were doing the vinyl sides live throughout
Every week. Every week this happens, Pete, as we talked about before. So.
Hopefully we'll get him on. Well,
Hi,
Randy, at
Randy.
least you joined, Randy. So
Well, Randy's here anyway.
Yeah, I was doing something with a Facebook
how's it
deck
going?
and had to switch my configurations and
He has to click
switch
on the
it
link.
back and
Yeah, you have to click on the link.
thought I was set up, but I got it back now. So here we are.
good. So Randy, you're kind of new to the band. So I before you jumped on, I was saying you're kind of like the multi-instrumentalist in the band. So you play a bunch of things. So
Yes.
what do you contribute like in the live sense to the lineup?
Well, I'm a bass player primarily. So I was with the band in 2005 and 2004, 2005, playing bass. And when after Roy passed and the other configuration of Nectar dissolved, we got together and Mo said he was retiring from his business and moving on with life, and the opportunity presented himself. So he said, look, why don't you come on with us and we'll do some double bass songs together. So there was only so many of those that we thought was applicable. And I play guitar a little bit. And I said, well, why not? How about if I play 12-string guitar and add a little bit of different color to some of the other songs and try it that way. So I started playing 12-string guitar and, trying not to step on Rich's toes in any way in the lead guitar section of it. I play bass pedals as well. So it's almost like a Mike Rutherford kind of a thing. So that's kind of where my role is with it.
Good. I would assume it, and again, this will be the first time myself seeing this configuration, that your presence is going to add a lot of richness to the overall sound, which I think is a good thing.
I think so. I like to think so. Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of bass. It's good.
Sometimes there's two basses and bass pedals going at the same time. So it's it can be something sometimes.
Hard to
So.
compete with playing guitars. It's really tough to
Oh,
outpower these guys, but I try.
Ronald, Howard.
No, well, I think we've been doing it for almost 2 years now. So I think we've got it under control where it's not too overpowering and
Oh, it sounds great.
the guitar can shine through,
Yes,
as it were.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So Rich, so you've actually, you've stepped into some pretty big shoes in the band, but I think you have fit in quite well.
Oh, thank you so much.
So for you, I mean, and you're not a newcomer to this whole business,
No.
to this genre, right? So how did
No.
your experience in Fire Ballet, for those of you who don't know, Rich was a founding member of Fire Ballet, a great kind of, prog rock band from here in the US that had a little bit of success back in the day, but is one of those bands that probably many people haven't heard before. So how did that whole experience help you transition into this band?
Well, we both were on the same label. We both were on Passport Records. So after Fire Ballet disbanded in the late 70s, 76, something like that, it just broke up. I was at the House of Music, looking for session work and just hanging on, trying to find new musicians to play with or a new project or something, and doing demos, sleeping on couches, having time 3 o'clock in the morning. This way you could break things without anyone knowing or anything. So in any case, Mo was there recording Magic as a Child. And just, I think it was Mo that invited me to come to the house and jam sometime. So I did. Then that's when Dave Nelson left the band. I came in and we just got along. It was a big house in Chatham, New Jersey that we just jammed in the basement, and a lot of this other side came out of those jams. I did a couple of shows with them. I did a couple of shows with Roy as well, which after 2 shows with him, I said, what am I doing here, basically? Because it was wrong to let them get back to business. And then Mo called me a few years ago and said, you want to get the whole band back together? And I was, my heart skipped a couple of beats. And I said, well, it took about 40 years to give me a call. And but he finally did. And here we are.
I would say better late than never, right?
Yeah. But it was great training with Fire Ballet. And I was in Renaissance. I did 4 tours with Renaissance before Nectar. Never recorded with them. But I learned a lot of guitar tricks, learning Michael Dunford licks, and so it was just perfect timing for me. And, it's just part of life right now. We were all very close. This is part of our lives. So it's worked out great.
And how about with the fans? Have they embraced you into the fold as well?
The second tour was better psychologically for me than the first tour, because I didn't know whether I was going to take a bullet or what was going to happen, or a tomato. But I did okay, I think. And the second tour this year, I let my hair down a little bit more and tried to make some things my own, but still keeping Roy's essence in the whole thing. You have to learn, and Roy was and still is a hero of mine. We all love Roy. I knew Roy, and so we keep that going. And the fans embrace it this time. They say, well, it's not exactly like Roy. You're making things your own, but it sounds great. And the skin in my game was the other side too. Since I was part of the new thing, I feel like I'm more part of the band because of that new record. So like that.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, I've talked to many musicians who are kind of in similar shoes to you, and it's at first it's got to be really tough, and it's got to be a little nerve-wracking, but once you pass a certain period, there's usually that bit of acceptance that happens. And you guys have, what's really cool about this situation is you guys have come out and made new music, and that you're not just a nostalgia act, you're actually creating new things for people to listen to and hopefully fall in love with. So I know it's probably too soon to ask this question, but seeing as how this came out so well, has there been any talk of maybe doing another one in the not too distant future?
Yeah, we're already rolling on that.
Yeah.
We've got maybe already 5, 6 pieces. We've got some more pieces left over from the original band, the original time with the original band, that Ron discovered in his pile of junk. And they're all really good. So we're going to flesh them out as soon as we've got some time. We've been, Rich and I have been putting them down the best we could, but we really need to spend some time with the whole band and flesh them out, you know. And then once the music's down, then we'll look at the lyrics and stuff like that.
Okay.
We always do it that way. We do the music first, then we do the lyrics second.
So the answer is yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes,
We're working on some of this.
let me say something really quick. You know, Jim Robinson from the New Jersey Prog House, right across the street, they did the Prog Camp 2022, and he called me. So Kendall, who isn't here, the keyboard player for Nectar, and I did it, and we decided to do some unfinished Nectar songs off this new record. And I just basically, I had people looking at me, and I'm there. If you don't understand what I'm saying, it's because I'm not really singing words. I'm singing syllables that kind of turn into words. That's how we write. It's like talking in tongues, and then it turns into something. So we had a great time. But a lot of those songs, even in that form, were well received.
That's good.
You know, and so yeah, we're trying, and it just sounds great.
Well, you guys got just a hair over a month if you want to get one of these songs ready to maybe premiere at a certain event that's coming up on October 1st.
It happens that we used to do that all the time. We'd be on the road so much. We'd break out a song in a sound check. In fact, a lot of them emerged that way. Devil's Door was one of those from a sound check in Detroit. But yeah, I'd be willing for that. I think something's going to come out of this. It's got to happen. Something's got to happen.
We'll see.
It's got to break.
So you guys have played, obviously festivals and cruises and things like that. So what's the camaraderie amongst the bands and the musicians during these festivals and cruises and whatnot? Is there any kind of like surprise, like during someone's set, someone will come on and jam a song with you guys? Does a lot of that happen on these?
Yeah.
He happened on the cruise.
Came and jammed with us on the second night at the end. He did Fidgety Queen with us, which was really good. But I got to know a lot of the musicians on the boat.
We met a lot of people.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
It was great. Everybody was really warm and receptive, and it was fun. We met some neat people. Alan Parsons, Al Stewart. That was pretty neat.
Do you guys all go and watch your own sets and things like each other's, I should say? Does that happen?
We couldn't be bothered with that.
We could.
No, of course. Yeah, we did. Yeah.
So musically speaking, who were you most impressed with on that cruise?
Me personally, I was, and I didn't get to see everybody because that was one thing. There's a lot of crossovers. We were playing at other times, and 2 people were playing at the same time. So there was a lot of people in and out. But the ones that I saw that blew me away was the Zappa band. Those guys were just scary from the first note till the end.
Yeah.
They were really good. And I saw a little bit of District 97. They're really coming into their own. They're getting something else. Yeah.
I caught Transatlantic and loved it.
Did you? Yeah, I didn't.
And Alan Parsons was good too.
yeah.
I mean, that was an interesting set.
Yeah.
Justin Hayward.
Justin Hayward was
Yeah.
absolutely awesome.
Yeah, he was a class act.
He was a class act, and Al Stewart had a backing band called Empty Pockets, and they were pretty good. I heard them on their own, and I heard them work with Al. They just sent me a boatload of CDs.
Yeah, I thought Al Stewart was kind of like a weird mix for that cruise.
But it fit somehow. It fit,
Yeah, that's what the people who I know who went on it said. They said, "Oh, it was great," because it's so many people know so many of his classic songs, and when you really listen to some of those albums, there's some pretty intricate stuff going on there.
Yeah.
He supported Renaissance a couple of shows I did. So but only with acoustic guitar. This time he had a whole band. It was good. I fell in love with Alan Parsons. I don't know why. Just hearing
Yeah.
the old hits from the '70s and stuff, and seeing him up there. I kept bumping into him at the buffet. So, so I said I got to check him out, and I
He still sounds really good. I mean, I don't know if you've heard the newest Alan Parsons record, but it's
Yeah.
good. He's still in
Great.
fine vocal form, and
I liked Saga as well. They were pretty
Saga.
good.
yeah, Saga's really good.
Hello, Marianne.
Hello.
So Rich, hello.
He told me to sneak in.
That's Marianne. She's singing backgrounds with us these days. So
Hi there. Welcome. Rich, do you still keep in touch with Annie at all?
kind of a sore spot with me and her, only because, and I really love her, and I learned a lot in that band and stuff like that. It's just cordially, if I see her at a venue that we're both at a concert or something, to say hello. We not to talk on the phone for hours, but very cordial with each other. And it was hard. That was one of, it was harder in Renaissance than with Nectar. When Michael Dunford passed away, I got the call to do that, and she was very, very upset with his passing. And I started in the middle of the stage where he was. Then the next couple of shows, I was one person over, and then the next person over, and then eventually I was gone. But I love her. I just, I think she's terrific. And Fire Ballet used to support them back in the 70s too. So, but yeah, that's a long answer. I mean, we love each other. We just kind of like don't socialize that much.
Yeah, it happens.
It was a good band.
Yeah, I mean, it had to have been tough for her because, I mean, Michael was like her musical partner in that band for so many years.
The problem.
They were very
It
close.
was tough
Yeah.
for her, and she, it was just very tough for her, and because she kept looking over, and he wasn't there.
Yeah.
It was me, but yeah, it had to be very tough on her.
Poor Ron can't get on, huh?
No, seems like it.
He's still trying though. I got to give him credit for that.
Is he? Yeah. Does he keep going in and out?
Yeah, he's here, so I can see him. He's logged into the Zoom, but doesn't look like he's able to turn his audio or video on.
On his iPhone.
I told him to try his iPhone.
Yeah, it says on his iPhone. Top right corner, Ron,
It's if he can even hear us.
if you can hear it. Usually you can hear. I have mine plugged into a different system, so.
So I'd like to go around the Zoom here and I'm going to ask one question, and every one of you, when it's your turn, give me an answer. What is your favorite Nectar album and your favorite song to perform live? So Mo, we'll start with you. We'll go you, then Rick, then we'll go to Randy, then we'll go, Mick, you can just tell you, since you're not performing, you can just tell us what your favorites are. So Mo, why don't you kick us off here?
The question is the favorite album and the favorite thing to play.
Yep.
Yeah, the thing is, having been involved with all the albums, each album has a special place. I think Remember the Future is what pulled it all together, but I really like Tab in the Ocean. It's one of my favorites. And I really like Recycled. We've just started doing the second side of Recycled, which we've never really played. We started doing it about around March this year. Not played it before that. I like playing some of the Sounds Like This stuff, like Preacher, yeah, like stuff that we've not played for years. So we run about 4 hours with the music, and we pick out what we need to play. And if we're playing a town that we've played before, we'll look at what the set list was last time we were there, and we'll change it. So that if we're doing 2 shows, 2 nights, you're not going to hear the same thing on the first night as you are on the second night.
Right. So seeing as you haven't played in Poughkeepsie, New York anytime recently, I'm assuming
we played
No Holds Bar.
Daryl's house.
Daryl's house, yeah.
that's not too far. Yeah.
Not far.
Yeah.
So we think about that. We played Daryl's house. What did we play last time we were there? You know, you think about all that so that when people come, they know they're going to get something different.
Right.
And when we got a lot of applause from something at Daryl's house, we use it again in Poughkeepsie. It's easy.
Yeah.
There you go.
But you know, what's my favorite album? They're all my favorites at some point. If I had to only pick one, that would be tough. It would be toss up between Remember the Future, which we did in a week. We recorded the whole thing and wrote all the lyrics within a week, or Tab in the Ocean, which was some of that music just throbbed in it. We had a basement place where we played, and it was just awesome feeling. I knew that was going to be a good album.
Plaster was coming off the ceiling.
Well, let me pass you over to the rest of the gang. Who's next?
Rich, why don't you go?
Well, of course, I love everything on the other side. Having said that, I really like Cast Your Fate off of sounds like this. You know, it gives me something. And live, we segue that into Preacher. You know, so but I really enjoy singing that song and playing that song. There's something about that I really love.
Yeah, Roy did too.
Yeah. See.
Mick, how about you? What's your favorite?
Right now, because of the visuals, I think what we did with Marvelous Moses off of Recycled is one of the best videos I've seen in a long time. And Jay's done a really great job doing the backdrops for me. And we've created new backdrops from the old footage that I used to use from 16mm movie and adapted it now for all of the older stuff that we're playing, and everything off of the other side. That's all new. That's all brand new. It's all brand new video. So yeah, we have fun with a lot of things, and I think my favorite right now is Marvelous Moses.
I think Mick, the other side where you have the where you got all the musicians that died.
Yeah,
I think that's incredible, light show wise.
The whole concept of that was that with that in mind, pictures in black and white, because we thought about doing a tribute for Roy. That's how it started, as a tribute to Roy with The Devil's Door. But with the other side, by going through all the influences on our music, that includes the classics and back to the rock and roll days and everybody else, they're all dead. They're all on the other side already.
Yeah.
On
So
the other side, hello.
So yeah, that was interesting. In fact, during the tour, we had a few musicians die, and we had to add them to the roster. You know, and of course that went over really great because it just happened. So we stayed on top of it.
Neil Peart's a good example of that. He passed away when we were in the middle of the tour, and they were able to grab a picture.
Yeah,
and,
right.
And that was a big loss to the.
That was a huge loss.
Community, and especially the prog community. I mean, there was a big round of applause when that image went up.
Mhm.
Yeah. Neil.
I'll tell you a funny story about that, Pete, which may or may not be interesting, but Mo's known it. He's lived with it. But Kendall and Rich and I have never really had the experience of mixed light show. And when we're playing on stage, it doesn't look like much. It's a little beams of light hitting us in the eye. And when you look behind, it's almost so big that it doesn't look that impressive. It's never been like, wow, it's kind of like, all right. And then you got to get on with it and do what you're doing. And there was this one time, it's telling more of a too long of a story. But anyway, on this tour bus that we had this television camera. And every show we did, we recorded. And the TV, not camera, a screen, a TV screen. And they had it set up for DVDs and in video games. And so Mick and Jay, our other fellow, was trying to figure out a way to get the cables in there. Anyway, it took about a week and a half. So by maybe the fifth show, they were able to get what was on the laptop up on the screen. And when it finally happened, I'll never forget, Rich and Kendall and I were like, holy crap, because it was unbelievable. I don't know if you saw some of the pictures and some of the videos that we put up. It was just amazing that's what it looks like from the audience perspective. I mean, right, Rich? I mean,
I can't see a thing on stage.
Right? Yeah.
Neither
of us
So you see all these people in the audience whose jaws are like hanging down.
Oh yeah.
What the
Oh
hell?
yeah.
What's the big deal?
Sometimes, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then when the tributes to the people that were on the other side, people will really,
Oh,
in a way, it's almost like, hey, I'm up here playing guitar, man, but they're fixated on the screen. But which is part of the show. There, Mick's got it right there. So when you see that's what you look like gigantically behind you, it was an impressive thing.
And that's why the Nectar shows from back in the 70s are so wildly remembered by the fans, because that was like the perfect time for all that, right?
It was.
People in the audience who were all doing certain things, and man, they were like, the music was going in through here and their eyes were just like, wow, look at this. I mean,
I could tell you about my experience in 1976 at the Capitol Theater. But that's for another day. But I'll tell you my favorite album, which as everybody was going around, I was thinking and toss up between Remember the Future and Sounds Like This. And because Remember the Future is the one that started it for me and my buddies when we were teenage kids, and probably my favorite song to play is Recycled. That song is so powerful. It's a tour de force. There's no two ways about it. So playing that one, and Mo plays the 8-string bass. I play the 4-string bass. It's balls out.
Balls to the wall.
Balls to the wall. That song is so, and the other piece of it too is that the way Ron plays drums on that, it's thunder. It's amazing. So those are my two. Probably RTF and Recycled. It's my.
I think for me, as someone who's been listening to the band for a long time, I go back and forth usually between Tab and the Ocean and Remember the Future. I generally lean towards Tab, but I tell you, of late, what I've been listening to a lot, Journey to the Center of the Eye.
Oh,
Really?
there you go.
Yeah. I don't think I ever really appreciated that album as much as I have been of late.
No, that was our baby back in the day.
Yeah.
That is going to come out in 5.1, and it's going to be joined
Properly.
Yes, I've been talking to
Finally.
Mark about that. Yeah.
Oh, he's doing that again?
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, well, he realized what happened.
People still buy those things?
The
That's
SACD.
still a thing?
I can't even find an SACD player.
Right. Right. Why bother?
So no discussions with Steven Wilson to remix the catalog like everybody else is doing?
Yeah.
Well, we've done it a
No.
couple of times already.
I hope not.
So all right, so we've got like a month before the big show. So you guys have anything going on between now and then? Or you kind of taking some time off and before the
We're playing on Saturday in
Carolina.
Frog Day in
Frog Day
North
in
Carolina.
And then we don't play again until
September 30th.
The day before your gig.
30th. Yeah, we're playing it in where are we playing?
Arden-Gilson.
Delaware.
Yeah, in Delaware, and then we come up to you, and then we don't play again until the end of the next month. We play in Baltimore and Sellersville. We just want to keep the wheels turning a little bit,
Yeah, that's a manageable tour, right? So it's if you could call it a tour, it's like special states.
It's definitely manageable.
Yeah, good. So for those who might be attending SoT Tranquility Fall Fest on October 1st, who maybe aren't familiar with Nectar, how can you sum up your music to them in like a couple of sentences so they know exactly what to expect?
Oh.
Expect the unexpected. How's that?
That's a very safe answer.
Yeah, I would say have an open mind and let the music drag you through it,
Mhm.
because it will.
Well, if I mean, you know the music, right, Peter? I mean, every Nectar album
It's
is
different.
totally different from the next. That's to me, that's one of the things that sort of drew me to them back in the day. Anyway, is that Journey is it's a space flight out there. Tab in the Ocean is a little more rock
Same
centric.
thing, but underwater.
But underwater, yeah, but yet totally different. They had
Yeah.
different sounds. The instruments sounded different. The writing was different.
Yeah.
Then you got RTF.
Uh-huh.
No, sounds like this, which was like that's
All
why
the
that's
stuff
one
that
of
we
my
had to get
favorite.
out of the way.
That was just
Sounds like
rock
this.
and roll, man.
Yep.
And
Sounds like this came together because we had a lot of music that we'd not recorded, and we wanted to get on with Remember the Future. So we went in the studio and set up everything, including the PA, and played all the music that we wanted to get out of the way, and that became Sounds Like This, which again is one of my favorite albums too.
did you see the Sounds Like Swiss video, Pete? Did you see that?
Yep.
That was
I've got almost an entire shelf over there of all sorts of Nectar live stuff.
Okay.
Just
All right.
it's just there. I mean, it's amazing, to be a Nectar fan this day and age. It seems like every other month there's some kind of live album or some kind of compilation or something coming out. So you guys have been out there, like
we're trying, man. Got to pay the bills.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Also with Nectar, other than other progressive bands like, it's a lot of jamming too. I mean, things are different every night, from the lights to so there's space for us to really dig into a couple of things here and there. So things change.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing
and
is, the light show is different every night.
I know.
Has to be. Can't be the same.
No.
Impossible.
I think that the whole thing with the band and the light show creates an environment where it helps you forget everything and concentrate on the music,
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. One of the things that I always like so much about the band is, you could put whatever labels you want on it, right? Because that's what everybody does nowadays. But I think you go to a Nectar concert, visually, you're going to be in for a treat. Musically, there are going to be parts of the show that are going to rock really hard. There's going to be other parts that are kind of spacey and psychedelic. So if you like that sort of thing, other parts are a little bit more, complicated and as well as atmospheric and introspective. And some of it's just good old fashioned rock and roll with some great pop hooks. So you get like a little bit of everything. And if you're a music connoisseur of a lot of different genres, how are you going to walk away from a Nectar concert and not be thoroughly entertained?
Can
you
we
just
get that
described
right?
the show.
Get that out for us? That's
That's what I
good.
do. That's what I do, guys. Right. So
Yeah.
That's gonna be great.
Hold up the other side and say those exact same words.
there you go.
There you go.
Right
That's
there.
it.
Right there. Do not miss this album, guys. And here they are on stage,
Yeah,
doing
that's
their
it.
thing.
Did you get the new one with the DVD?
No, I just have the original one,
We'll
the
bring you
original
one.
esoteric one. Yeah.
I will stick one in my bag for you.
It's the making.
Awesome. Hopefully we can have a beer together or something, prior
Be
to the
good.
show or whatever. I'll be seeing you
Yeah,
guys
fine.
backstage, I'm sure. But
Yeah, it would be good to see you, man.
yeah, I'll be there all day. So if you guys are interested, I don't know how early you're going to get to the venue, but in the afternoon, we're going to be recreating some of the talk show things we do here on the channel. So we're going to have, I think starting at 12:30, we're going to do our In the Prague Seat show live on stage in front of an audience. We're going to do the Hudson Valley Squares right after that. Then if you guys know Martin Popoff, the very famous author, I do a show with him every Friday morning. We're going to do a talk show in front of an audience that afternoon as
I've
well.
seen
So
one of that.
we've got stuff going on all day there. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
How's the response been to the festival?
good so far. Yeah.
Yeah.
good so far. But you know how it goes with concerts these days. People scamper and buy their tickets like 2, 3, 4 weeks before the show. So,
Right.
so yeah, it's
2 or
just,
3 days.
yeah,
sometimes.
exactly. People just show up at the last minute. It's like, yep, I'm here. So, and that the venue warned us about that. They're like, so, that's how all of our shows sell. I'm like, okay, well, good to know. Good to know. So there you have it, everybody. You're spending some time here with the guys and gals from Nectar, and we're looking forward to seeing them on October 1st at the Chance Theater in Poughkeepsie, New York. If you haven't got your ticket yet, please do so. Remember, doors open at noon. We start in the loft stage. There's 2 stages here. There's the Chance and the Loft. It's like 2 buildings side by side that they share an ownership there. So we'll be doing all the panel stuff, all the talk show stuff in the afternoon, starting at 12:30 on the loft. Then we'll take a dinner break at 5 o'clock. Then at 6 o'clock, all the music starts. We'll have Andy Powell from Wishbone Ash and myself doing a Q&A first, but then the evening of music starts, and we'll see Nectar is going to cap off the entire evening with probably close to a 90-minute set of Nectar classics and stuff from this great new album, The Other Side. If you don't have it, check it out. It's a fine, fine album. So thanks everybody for joining us here. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you for having us
Thanks
join
for
you.
having us. Appreciate it.
so we'll see Nectar and all of you at SoT Fall Fest on October 1st. In the meantime, visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. All together, all the damn time. And we'll be all together on October 1st as well. So for the crew at Nectar, I am Pete Pardo. We'll see you all in a month at the Chance. Take care, everybody.
See you guys.
See you then. Thanks, Peter.